unfortunately, the House has now stripped that earmark out of that spending bill.
The public deserves full transparency. If true, Ilhan Omar must be denaturalized and deported. Which is true. Ilhan Omar busted again. Everybody's been monitoring the fraud there in Little Somalia, and she tried to squeeze in another $1 million grift for her friends. Fox News reporting on it. The bill has passed the House, now making its way over to the Senate, and Ilhan, little scammer that she is, wanted to include a provision in there for an addiction group. Now, saying that the left-wing Democrats are stealing $1 million to some organization that operates right above a Minneapolis Somali restaurant. Amazing. So you can go get sober and go eat some cats and dogs. Republican Iowa Senator Joni Ernst is working to strip out more than $1 million of federal funds, and in the scale of things, like there's like 18 billion or whatever the number is that they stole. It's like nothing. It's like tip money. $1 million. Fox News Digital. The scale and frequency of fraud in Minnesota is staggering, but I fear it's just the tip of the iceberg. Congress owes it to the American people to clean up this mess, instead of letting the same politicians who created it keep pigging out at the trough like fat little piggies. Right. I'm putting a stop to this madness, and we'll be investigating. Capitol Hill lawmakers unveiled a new spending package on Monday that totals $174 billion. They're going to get more votes from House lawmakers later this week. Within the package, Joni Ernst's office found that Ilhan had earmarked, just shoved in there, $1,031,000 through the DOJ over for a group called Generation Hope in Minnesota. The earmark is also co-led by Amy Klobuchar and Gina Smith in the Senate. Now, this is a 501c3. They were established in 2019 to fight drug addiction and substance use disorders in the greater East African community of the Twin Cities metro area. And you know, there's a great program for this called AA that helps. And they're self-funded. They don't need millions of dollars because you just go there and you just put a couple dollars in the basket. It says here from Ilhan, we are a Somali-led organization. Of course they are. And our team includes individuals in recovery, mental health professionals, licensed counselors, peer recovery support specialists, and more. Now the website lists 2 addresses, including a location on Cedar Avenue. The same Cedar Avenue address is also listed as the location for a Somali restaurant called Segal Restaurant and Coffee. So yeah, you go to your meeting and go down and you just get a cup of joe. The restaurant website describes the restaurant being established in 1998, and it's a culinary haven. Wow. Brings the authenticity of Somali cuisine to Minneapolis. Ugh. Google Maps, Fox Digital found, also lists the neighborhood association group is also sharing the Cedar Avenue location. So multiple entities piled into one building. We've seen that story here many times before. Writing, the owner of the restaurant confirmed to Fox News, they work right above us. He said, we have 8 office spaces on the upper level of the building. Generation Hope is using this for people who need addiction services. Telling Fox News Digital, the other location listed shows a commercial property. Now, Ernst is readying an amendment in the Senate to redirect that $1 million. A review of documents published by Omar's office promoting the earmark for the project says that they live on Cedar Avenue South, the building, for this center. Not just Cedar Avenue, as described on Generation Hope's website. So you got the wrong location. The Cedar Avenue South address pulls up the restaurant location, all right? Now, Yelp reviews for the cafe say it's amazing. It's delicious. It has 4.5 stars out of 5. Authentic Somali meals. Man, they love it. So Omar's office previously described on its website that the fiscal year 2026 funding would be used to address the opioid crisis. By combining this workforce readiness programming with addiction recovery, mental health, and housing support, we're going to reduce recidivism and all the things. Now, the funding would be used for targeted re-entry support. They're going to teach them how to use computers. Wow. And the initiative integrates a tailored support model, blah, 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 techno battle, so that you don't know what they're saying. IRS documents, including the 1023-EZ, showed the 3 chiefs of Generation Hope listed the same address for a 5-bedroom home in Minneapolis. They're all living together over there. So Abra Dahaman Borsane is a local author, also co-founded that. He told the media outlet for Minnesota refugees that this was a recovering addict's journey to sobriety. But we support that journey, man. It's a good one. So Fox News Digital is looking into whether the group has received previous funds. Fox News Digital also reached out to Omar's office, Klobuchar's office, and many more. No replies from them. Ernst's office, as well as others, want to strip this $1 million. And Minnesota, of course, the home to a major scheme. Local officials speculate the fraud could exceed $1 billion, could go as high as $9 billion. I've heard $18 billion. Democrat Governor Tim Walz dropped out of the race so that he doesn't have to be in the blast zone when this continues to explode. So Ilhan, of course, caught once again sending money to her friends. Now, their website's a little bit better than some of the other websites that we've seen here. They at least have some things going on. And they have a podcast, so you can see. Don't know if this is inside the building or if these are just stock photos, but they've got peer reports, skills training, comprehensive support, all the other things. And our partners, are all over the place over here. All right. right, so yeah, that's what they've got. They've also got a podcast. They've got a couple videos that have been posted recently. 2 months ago, Sobriety Sunday. Okay, Sobriety Sunday episode. So is this money going to, to fund their podcasting endeavor, or where is it going exactly? Don't really know. But we also see that Joni Ernst is now looking into it. So here is what she said over on Fox Business as of yesterday. It's gotten 1 million views. People are wanting this accountability, and they want it now.
What I uncovered the other day in one of our spending bills making its way through Congress was a $1 million earmark from Representative Ilhan Omar of Minnesota, which was an earmark that was supposedly going to a substance abuse clinic, which actually happened to be housed in a restaurant and run by 3 individuals that share the same residential address, according to their IRS paperwork. Tons of red flags. So this is what we saw with the fraud involving the daycare centers. Now we see other earmarks coming directly from members of Congress where it seems fraud is being perpetrated as well. So I raised the issue, and fortunately the House has now stripped that earmark out of that spending bill. But again, this is how easy money has been flowing to bad actors in Minnesota.
And it's shameless. Isn't it shameless for her in the middle of all of this? Like, don't you just hey, we can't get you the money right now. Okay, we'll get it next go around. Okay, it's a little hot right now. Everybody's freaking out about the fact that we stole $9 billion, so just hold off a little bit. And no, they can't do it because they know there's no consequences for it, because they've already established a very strong beachhead that seemingly is not going anywhere. So we've got that has been reported. We also see Nancy Mace is digging into other aspects of Ilhan's fraud, including the marriage to her brother. Says we are moving to subpoena Ilhan Omar and her brother and husband's immigration records from Christy No. The facts raise serious questions about potential federal marriage fraud, incest, polygamy, and tax fraud. Wow, we're really glad to have so much diversity now. The public deserves full transparency. If true, Ilhan Omar must be denaturalized and deported, which is true. So hopefully those subpoenas are drafted and filed soon. And there was a hearing earlier this week with whistleblowers in front of Congress who were explaining all of this. And that one guy yesterday we listened to, they're like, are the Somalis a net benefit for our community? He's like, well, definitely a net benefit. Well, how many Somali households are on welfare after 10 years? Guy's like, I don't know, 70%. How many are on Medicaid? 80%. Whatever the numbers were. They're very high numbers relative to regular Minnesotans who are not, and their families are not getting those benefits. So what happens, seemingly, is that one group of people in America are paying everything, the other group of people in America are taking everything. And the givers are tired of giving to the takers, who are very unappreciative and not needing to steal the money for their $2,500 glasses. So this was a great exchange yesterday. After the hearing came out, we saw that Mario the Fall grabbed this, and this is from Lindell TV, and here is this exchange.
Ms. Rarick, you spoke about the retaliation that many have experienced in light of trying to expose the fraud and the corruption happening in Minnesota. Can you speak more to that and what people are experiencing when they try to sound the alarm on what's happening?
Right. So that retaliation's been going on for quite some time. If you look at what Faye Bernstein said in a news report or Newsweek article back in 2019, it started for her, and she was heavily investigated. She was actually moved to a different state agency. She was, retaliated against in every kind of way you can think. What's happened now is retaliation has escalated, and now you're going to lose your job, you're going to lose your home, we're going to track your children, we're going to make sure that you can't get a job anywhere else in state government. And for Minnesota, that means probably Minneapolis, St. Paul, Hennepin County, Ramsey County, Duluth, Rochester. You can't get a job anywhere that Democrats control.
That's pretty terrifying. Do you think?
Yeah, they own it. It's theirs. It's their beachhead. That's why they're fighting so hard. That's why they have maniacs obstructing roadways to try to block ICE officials from doing their jobs. Because they know if they lose this population, if they lose this beachhead, they lose the whole state, essentially. They really need that state because they need those votes. They need those blue senators. They need those blue governors to continue the grip. So that's why they have to threaten people who are exposing their theft, and they are going to be blacklisted. So that's why these people are heroes. And this has all been corroborated, by the way, by Nick Shirley. A lot of people out there, oh, Nick Shirley's just making it up. He's just a dumb kid. Well, listen to these 3 people who are confirming the same. It's obviously happening. You can see even the people, the man on the street videos, who are sitting outside the Leering centers there in Minnesota, who are just filming things, and then you have some outrageous feral person coming up and banging on their doors. Get out of here! You can't film me! And doing all the same things repeatedly while the fraud continues behind the scenes. Now, here is more.
That's going to prevent people from continuing to speak out on the issue?
Well, we are really hoping that with all of this light on it and, telling people that this is a retaliation, that if something like that does come to fruition right now, it's threats, although some people have been fired, that they have a little bit more ability to speak speak up and speak to us, and that we can cover them in that way. But it's been really, really bad, and it's been bad for quite some time.
Yeah, and it'd be nice if the Republican Party would reach out and circle the wagons around these people, right? When a whistleblower is under attack, when these people are getting punished by the opposite party, it would be nice if our party, if the Republicans, would just, throw a life raft out there and just say, man, we know that you're going to be blacklisted. Don't worry about it, because we're going to put you in one of these think tanks. We're going to, come over here and whistleblow and write and reveal all this and use this as a political tool, which of course it is, because it's a full-blown political war, maybe now, getting a little bit more than that. Of course, the question is, what about the fraud in other locations where they've already got their beachhead established, or they've already anchored in their forces, like in Seattle, right around the corner, where there was another shooting nearby in the other state below them called Oregon, and Seattle mayor is now asked about this. Are you looking into any daycare fraud? Like, do you have Somalians there? Do you have any other groups that are similar to them that are ripping off the country? Here is her reaction to this, and she says it with like a smarmy arrogance. We're not looking into anything. Why would we look into anything? We will find a bunch of things that we don't want to find, so we're not going to do that.
Yeah, and I think the fear in the Somali community is real. The fear in immigrant communities are real, so we're taking that very seriously.
Along those lines, have you asked anyone to follow up on the fraud claims, either to the Department of Immigrant and Refugee Affairs or SPD?
No, she hasn't. So how come she's not doing that? Is she making an executive decision as the mayor that I don't think that there's any cause there to investigate it? Or is it willful neglect, right? Is this the stuff that's rising to criminality? You're the mayor. You kind of have a responsibility over certain aspects of the governance of your locale. So if somebody comes to you with some evidence that, yeah, there's fraud going on, you almost have a duty, right? You kind of have responsibility to actually investigate it or pass it off to the appropriate body to do that. And if she's not doing that, maybe it's because she's complicit in the fraud, because she knows